Started. So happy that what are we, 19, Pat? 19 of us are here tonight. Um, and I'm Liz Hines. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees. And I hope everyone had a great summer and is ready to dive right into fall because we have a lot of fun stuff coming up. Angelica's going to talk about it all later on in this presentation. So next slide, please. So this is our agenda for the evening, sort of. We're actually not going to approve our minutes from last year's meeting yet because they're not quite done. So board, we're going to approve them at our October meeting. And then what we'll do is we'll post them on our website for all of our members to read. So that's how we'll handle minutes. Instead, we're going to start off with my report. And then Nesta Stevens and Donato DiGeronimo will present our treasurer's report. And then we'll hand it off to Angelica Diggs, our executive director, for the main event. So we can go ahead and dig on in. All right, so last year at this meeting, we talked a lot about how we were finally able to turn our attention fully to our Orange Road campus and to the museum in particular. And that's really what we've continued to do this year. So I'm going to give some updates of things that we talked about last time and share with you where we are now. Next slide, please. So if you dialed in last year, you heard us talk about a grant we had received, an Inclusive History Project grant from the New Jersey Historical Commission that enabled us to start work on the reinterpretation of the second floor of the Crane House and historic YWCA to incorporate the stories of the Y and the early preservation movement into our exhibits. We had done something similar with the first floor back in 2015, but the second floor is still just Crane family bedroom. So we wanted to kind of extend the same treatment that we have on the first floor up to the second floor so that we're telling the stories throughout the whole timeline of the house. So that initial grant that we talked about last year allowed us to hire Claudia Ocello of Museum Partners Consulting, who's also who guided us through our first floor reinterpretation, to conduct research, to sort of conduct the research phase of the project, specifically to look into the histories and stories of the YWCA boarders who lived in the house from the 1920s to the 1950s, and also the early preservation story of the individuals who moved the house to its current site and established the Montclair Historical Society, which is what eventually grew into the organization we are today. So that early phase wrapped up back in January 2024. And last year we shared some tidbits from what we had learned. So if you're curious about that and didn't get to see it last year, you can go to our YouTube channel and look at last year's meeting and see some of that fun stuff. So next slide, please. The update to that is that we were then awarded an additional $17,000 grant, $17,000 grant from the New Jersey Historical Commission for the next phase of the work. So we were able to keep going with it. During that phase, which just wrapped up this summer, really, we continued to work with Claudia and with Johanna Goldfeld from Exhibitista Creative to develop the actual exhibit narrative and design that would go along with our reinterpretation of the second floor. So this is really a continuation of our strategic goal to reinterpret the rooms on the upper level to tell the boarders' story and the story of the moving and preservation of the house. So that picture you can see on the top is the room where there are 4 bedrooms on the top floor. The first one would remain the early period. The next room along would be set up as a YWCA boarders bedroom. The little room you're looking at the top would be an exhibit space that tells the story of the early preservation era. And then the last room might be some rotating exhibit space. So that's kind of the long-term plan for it. I love this quote that we have on here from Hortense Tate, because it's kind of so aptly sums up this phase in our organization's entwined histories. I'm not going to read it all because I won't do justice to her voice, but she's talking about how she cried and cried and cried because it was the end of something that had meant so much to her and to the African American community who lived there, but she was also happy for its preservation. So the next step for us would be to move into the implementation phase, and we applied for a grant to do that, but unfortunately didn't get it. So our hope is that we will eventually be able to do that. We're going to keep trying to get the funding so that we're able to continue to tell this story on the second floor as well as on the first floor. Next slide. One project that has moved along into implementation is the marker for our site on the New Jersey Black Heritage Trail, which was created back in 2022 to highlight Black heritage sites throughout the state with historical markers along a trail-like path, and to showcase the many contributions of Black Americans over the more than 300 years of New Jersey history. So we were able to announce at last year's annual meeting that we were one of 32 sites to be named in the inaugural round of trail markers. Since then, the Howe House and St. Mark's have also been selected for inclusion. So Montclair is going to have 3 sites on the trail, which is pretty neat. So since then, we have drafted and approved our text for the historical marker that will go out front. And we also appeared successfully before the Zoning Board of Adjustment to request a variance because turns out the height of the historic marker, which is dictated by the New Jersey Historical Commission, is above that is permitted in our zoning. So we're all square with the zoning board, and the marker is being manufactured now, and I can read to you what it will say. Do that now. The Montclair YWCA, founded in 1912, created a safe space for Black women and girls to engage in leadership development, education, and recreation. Locally known as the Colored YWCA, by 1921 it was one of 5 segregated YWCAs in the state and remained separate from the national organization until 1953. The YWCA was a haven for local and newly arrived Black women and girls. During its expansion in 1965, the house was given to the Montclair History Center and moved here from 159 Glenridge Avenue. This site affirms how the Black community overcame challenges to nurture and empower Black women and girls. So that marker will be coming soon to a historic site near you. Angelica, do you know what the timeline is? I should have asked you this before.
No, that's okay. It's still in a manufacturing phase. It could take up to 3 to 4 months from what I understand. I was holding on to some hope. Maybe we could have an unveiling in November, but that's assuming everything aligns. So if that is the case and the ground gets too cold, we might have to wait till spring. So keep an eye out. Maybe
yeah,
November.
we will announce it vigorously and make sure everyone knows when it's going to happen. It's pretty exciting.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next slide, please. Perhaps the most noticeable project for anyone who's been on our grounds in the past year is the ADA project at Clark House, which houses our offices, library, and archives. That project is now complete. You can see some pictures of it here. We were able to do this thanks to funding from multiple partners, including the New Jersey Historic Trust, the New Jersey Cultural Trust, Community Development Block Grant funding, and grants from the Hyde and Watson Foundation, Bolger Foundation, and Montclair Foundation. So kudos to Angelica and the staff for pulling together all this funding to make this happen. And I also wanted to thank Deborah David for being our trustee on the ground through it all. So they really helped get this done. I think it looks great. It works really nicely. The repairs included repairs to the retaining wall along the back of the building, which you kind of can't see there, but that is an important thing that needed to be done before we could add the ramps. Repairs to the walkway from the driveway to the Clark House entrance, the new ADA accessible ramp that you see there to enter from the back door. The back door has been widened and lighting has been added to enhance safety. So we're really excited to be able to make this building more accessible to everyone. We're going to continue to pursue opportunities to improve accessibility around our campus and to the other into the other buildings as well. All right. And finally, the other bit of kind of big news, we've decided to expand our board of trustees in specific ways to help fill gaps in our collective skill set and perspective. So our board voted earlier this year to expand the number of trustee positions from 15, which is what it's now, to up to 19. And also to create an emeritus role for any board member who might not be able to participate regularly, but still wanted to be part of the board and really continue to contribute their expertise to us. And so the nominating committee is now working on defining the specific roles we want to recruit for. And we're drafting job descriptions that we may decide to advertise, just as if we were advertising hiring for a paid position. So I'm going to say some of the things that we are looking for. And if this is you or someone else you can recommend, please definitely let us know. So we're looking for someone who is adept at development and fundraising on a large scale, cultivator connector type who can help introduce us to folks in the community that maybe they know that we don't know, someone with human resources expertise, an archivist or collections, specifically digital collections kind of person, someone with a background in branding with a digital marketing strategy bent to it, and an event planner. So those are kind of the things that we've identified that are, holes in our collective skill set that we'd like to bolster on our board. In general, we're looking for people who have an interest in Montclair history, who are available to participate in our meetings, in our committees, in our events. Needs to be someone with a roll up their sleeves kind of attitude. This is very much a working board that participates right along with staff in a lot of what we do. And most importantly, it's important for us to continue to build a board that is diverse in terms of perspectives and backgrounds and experience and age in all the ways. So that's what we're looking to do over the next few months. And again, if there's anyone, if you or anyone you can think of would seem to fit that description, any of those descriptions, please let us know. So that is my report on my president's report on the big stuff. I'm going to pass it over to Nesta and Donato for the treasurer's report now.
Thank you, Liz. During the last 18 months from March 2024 to present, the History Center has exhibited some substantial changes in the financial position of the History Center. In keeping with the fiduciary responsibilities of a board of trustees, we have focused and have been successful in growing our assets, our cash, to increase and contribute to future income. Our cash holdings were diversified to include CDs, treasury bills, money markets, and a stock portfolio. Next slide, please. You can see the breakdown of our financial position with this draft with this graph, and you can look at it, ask any questions at the end. Our breakdown is attached, and these investments are being managed by Wells Fargo and Matt Iverson in the investment division. We have also engaged a new CPA firm, and this is the first time that I'm aware of that we conducted a certified audit, and this required numerous examples of income expenses, financial policies, contractual agreements, and other operations related to all documentation. Our cash position at this current time in the last 18 months as a result of the sale of the Schultz House and deaccessions has exhibited an excellent operational revenue, and we are operating in the black. One of the most positive outcomes of the last 18 months in working with the new firm is changing our software in QuickBooks from operating as a manufacturing company to a nonprofit. And what this really does is benefit the operation and the board's ability to show where we are spending our money. After having a very long conversation with Ryan Hinson, who's the one of the partners of Miss Vocia, we talked about allocating the time of the executive director, the managers, the museum coordinator, and the education to better manage how the board would know what we're doing. The board's operation knowledge is going to be enhanced as follows. Angelica, Aaron, Suzanne will be easily tracked as their various responsibilities. One of the things that Liz just talked about was that we are, covering operations, we're covering fundraising, and these are the things she's looking at for future board members. At the current time, our staff and our management are doing all of these things. And one of the things that came up in our conversation last week was, what percentage of time does Angelica spend other than directing? And we talked about fundraising. We talked about working in the gardens. We talked about her program. And in order to look at this is like what you call a cash flow analysis. Some of the board wants to know, well, are these programs, are they profitable? How much time are the staff spending? And in order to do that, I talked with the firm, and I'm going to be using what's called a statement of functional expenses. And what that does is show the allocation of time and management through our programs, our trips, the museum store, special things like spooky stories that Erin does. She trains interns. You can see that from what I'm saying, that our people do a multitude of activities, and it's not really recorded in how we spend our money. So we are looking at being able to expand our staff, looking for volunteers to help them. So the way that this will be focused is for me to use a calendar that we have. Angelica and staff are very good about putting in their time. And I spoke with the CPA firm to say, I will dump the payrolls every month into a spreadsheet, and I'll be able to allocate how much time is being spent so that we can better manage what we need as far as support. All nonprofits need fundraising, and starting in January 2024, we've done this, January 2025 for the next fiscal year. I will be doing that so that the board will be able to see how much time they're being spent. Also, we are looking for a need of fundraising, partnerships to support programs, and research, etc. We don't have that right now. The staff that you see present here, in addition to Erin and Suzanne and Valerie and our other staff members that are here, they roll their sleeves up and they do this all the time, every day. They are Angelica's left and right hands. So I'm really excited to give you just an overview of what we have done. You can look at our cash position. You can see our programs, which Angelica is going to talk about. But we are very cash rich. We are a very liquid company. This is a good report that we can show you that we have $907,000 in cash reserves, which is our cash position. We are good, but we don't know how much money we're going to be able to support this with grants ahead. So we look to those of you who are on this call, on this meeting, to let you know that we need your help. All nonprofits need support, but this is the first time I can say that since I've been working here that we don't have a cash problem at this time yet. But the climate is very questionable. But everything that we have, as I showed you in the previous graph, you'll see we have most of our assets are cash liquid. So we're in a good position. Lastly, which was really exciting, after working 18 months on revising financial reports, we received a draft of our certified audit today, our first certified audit. It has a substantial number of documents that Angelica, the executive committee, the finance committee, and I are going to have to review, which will then come to the full board. But we are really on par with the big guys. We are doing what needs to be done. So I congratulate everyone that's on here and our supporters to let you know that we've come a long way. Congratulate the staff, because without them, we couldn't have done all of this work. And I'm just thankful that we are going to continue to show you profits like this year after year. Any questions? Not, I thank you. You can always email me if you look at all of the attachments, and I'll be happy to respond to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Nesta.
Nesta.
I'm going to take us through a year in a review. I'm pretty sure I know everyone on this call. And if you hear a funny noise in the background, I apologize. That's a very rambunctious rabbit chewing on something in the background. This is my house. So hopefully you don't. But I would like to take us through all we accomplished this past fiscal year. So our fiscal year runs from July to June. So I'm highlighting that. Although obviously we've already started to move into this next year as well. Can you hear that funny noise behind me? No?
No.
Good. Then I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, good. Perfect. One of the things we started off the new year with was welcoming a new staff member who I believe is on here tonight. I just can't see anyone. So we want to welcome our new museum coordinator, Agnes Laloya, who joined us actually in November of last year. So Agnes is approaching her 1-year mark with us. The museum coordinator role has always been in existence with us, so we're thrilled to have Agnes on board, who's a Seton Hall University graduate in the humanities field, and we really enjoyed working with her. So welcome, Agnes. You'll see her a lot at programs, also leading up a lot of content and planning on social media. So that's that person behind the keyboard for you. Education and public programs. So I'm going to start here. The heart of what we do at the Montclair History Center is truly how we serve the public and engage the public in a variety of ways. And I wanted to put up front and forefront about all the students we serve. Last year was the most impressive year we've had in our history of the number of students we have served on site. We had contracts with that of Newark Public Schools, Montclair School System, and serving a variety of others across the Essex County and even beyond. Serving over 3,000 students through our historic house and upwards of 500 teachers and chaperones. That is the most ever we've had in the history of our field trip programs on site. And we owe a lot of credit to Suzanne and Valerie, who are on here tonight, for all their hard work to make that come to life and happen. We even also have digital lesson plans we offer up to students. Sometimes we do one-off either outreach programs or others who come to us for school groups or scout visits. So those are always things that are available. So we're trying to figure out different ways we can meet the needs of teachers and students, particularly, and as things change each year. So we're looking forward to a really exciting school year. Our staff are working diligently to go ahead and book field trips as the season really starts to gear up more for us this coming October. And those are just some nice pictures of some of our staff. We have a team of per diem educators that came in last year. They come in for the academic year. And teach students on almost a daily basis and rotations. A number of them are also bilingual. Some of the students that come from districts that we serve, English is not the first language, so we're also happy to be able to offer education in Spanish as well. Ooh, let me hit my next button there. History at Home, one of our biggest programs that launched during COVID and has been maintained. So we pretty much do one program a month in the evening. We've maintained this since 2020. It's adapted over time. So we continue to reach people for live programming, which we record, and then we put all of these programs up on our YouTube channel. I'm always excited to see where people come from. It has clearly hit national and international viewership in the past as well. We always get people from out of state. It's one of the beauties of this. If you are passionate about something from Montclair history and you're no longer local, you can reach us through this type of programming or watch it at a later time. So everything is archived on our channel. Just in this fiscal year alone, we've had over 2,000 video views just this year alone. We've had over 18,000 video views since YouTube was placed up for us. To me, that's really highly impressive. You know, for our sized organization, it speaks volumes to the how the content is being used and continues to be used as it's placed up online. And we've had some really interesting partnerships. You know, we did one with the Loudon Museum about a great migration story from someone who came from Virginia and then ended up here in Montclair. So it's really had some unique ways we can connect to other people and places and community groups. So we're very passionate about this program, and we have a really great lineup. And one of our speakers, Elaine Fiveland, who's on tonight, will be speaking in October for our first History Home of the season. So stay tuned. This project, Everyone Has a Story, was a new project. We were approached by Aging in Montclair, which is a group in Montclair that services adults in the Montclair community for interactions, engagement, programming, you name it. And they said, we want to do live storytelling events. And knowing our background, they wanted to work with us as the vehicle who could help bring this project to life. So we partnered together. And we held two live storytelling events where we brought in two longtime residents who could share their history. It was hosted at Montclair Film, and as you can see from the pictures, they were very well attended and also well attended on Zoom. It was a hybrid program. They were recorded and placed up on our YouTube channel for anyone who missed it. And we're really thankful to Partners for Health to fund this pilot project with us. We are seeking out funding to again host two more story events next year. And we hope to see it continue as a really great way to engage new people and also just bring out people who were just so happy to talk about Montclair and hear the stories of those that evening. It was really special programming for us this year. Some of my favorite things are the walking tours we do. They really gear up in the fall and spring seasons when the weather is a little bit nicer, although I feel like we did quite a few walking tours this summer as well. We always do our Rosedale Cemetery partnership tours, a number of those throughout the year. We still continue to do walking and tasting food tours throughout Montclair's history, including a new partnership with a group called Chowtown Food Tours. We've hosted a number of programs where we bring the history and they bring the food. And it's been a really great way for both of us to reach new audiences, stop at some cool restaurants, and create a really nice partnership that we hope to continue. So it's a nice, interesting revenue stream for us to pursue and just a great way to meet people. I mean, who doesn't love to take a historical tour and have some food while you're at it? So we certainly enjoy it as a staff as well. We have a whole slew of walking tours coming up this season, including Rosedale Cemetery and the Pine Street neighborhood this year for the Italian History Tour, if you want to sign up for that in November. On-site public programming. We do a lot out in the community, but we of course do a lot on-site too. That includes specialty tours we do for the season. I know Nesta mentioned the Spooky Stories tours. We do candlelight tours. We are open to the public this season on Saturdays. We're reopening this month with a number of events, and we'll have different activities and drop-in crafts for each weekend you come that you can take part in, or hearth cooking, as you see pictured there. We were open on Sundays last year, so we're trying a Saturday model this year. So that will be the difference when we open this season. We also hold special member and donor events. We usually do that in the summertime. So we were thrilled to have one this past August, and we did that the year before. I'm also now a certified yoga teacher, so we got to do some fun yoga in the gardens we were trying out this past year too. So some new things and some programs that are really have been consistent that we know the public enjoys doing and we offer each season. Exhibits. The Nubian Heritage Quilters returned to us again this year. They typically show with us every other year, and this has been I was looking into the dates, I think over a 20-year partnership with them, if not more. They came back for a second year row because it was their 25th anniversary as an organization. We were really pleased to have over 200 exhibit visitors during this time. They really showcased some beautiful work as well as a theme around Black heritage and music. We also hosted a History at Home program with their artists talking about their work as well. It was a really well-received show. We do have it completely online if you missed it and want to check out some of the quilts on display. The quilters, I think, had over 100 quilts this time, which is the most ever they made and have exhibited within 1 year. They will be taking a break next year and then will be returning to us in 2027, which is the typical schedule, which is every other year. But it's been a really wonderful partnership. We know that that space is very special for them too and has become like a second home. So we're thrilled to host it each time. Farm camp. This has also become, I think, a 10-plus year tradition. We partner with Montclair Community Farms and Rutgers Cooperative 4-H Extension. We host a multi-partnership camp where we have over 130 campers that we served in 2024. And we also just wrapped up our 2025 season. I think we served even more this year, with included 4 weeks of camp. It includes history, science, agriculture, you name it. We even went on field trips this past year. Camp is always a really intensive program. And again, kudos to Suzanne and Val for all their hard work to make camp happen. It would not be possible without you. And it's a really wonderful revenue generator for us as well as the community farm and Rutgers Cooperative. It's truly become a fundraiser and a great way for us to serve the community. Community engagement. What are the ways we get out there in the community? We love to attend events and festivals in town as best that we can. So some that we got to go this past year include our longtime partnership for the Build Montclair and Legos at the Art Museum. We always attend the AAPI Lantern Festival, Montclair's African American Heritage Festival, Pride Fest, and the new Juneteenth festivals in partnership with Friends at How House. And this year we were at the 4th of July parade. You can see some of our staff and board pictured there on the left as we got to make our way down. We had a great time, beautiful weather this year. So we do try and be present as best we can to be represented at different community events for the public. Some interesting programs we also tried out that we hosted this year. We hosted a very unique storytelling group called the Traveling Diary Tour, if you're familiar with it. It is a Montclair-born project, but it's become international. They participated by using our space for one of their storytelling events, and we were thrilled to host a very intimate storytelling and project that evening in the museum. And our collections manager, Erin Benz, has been diligent in holding multiple researcher home workshops in partnership with the Montclair Public Library. We've done those for years on and off, and they sell out every time. So it's a really great way to research your home's history. And if you're not sure where to start, the Public Library, the History Center, and even the Montclair Historic Preservation Commission, we have a lot of resources available for you. So stay tuned for some coming up this fall and next spring. They're great ways to look in how to research your house's history. Volunteers and interns, our staff and board are amazing, and we are so fortunate. We just have an amazing team of volunteers and interns every season that come to us. I'm always impressed with the amount of students who come and then don't want to leave, so it's amazing how they stay on and continue to work with us, even beyond any internship credits or work they're doing. So some of the highlights, we also host groups for Montclair State University. We do a 9/11 Day of Service every year. Ours is actually coming up this Saturday. We welcome a lot of interns, not just nearby colleges and universities, but also far. But some of the typical ones might include Montclair State or Rutgers University. We get a lot of students as well. We also continue to have a partnership with Jersey Cares, which is a nonprofit organization that fields volunteer service all across the state. And they've been pretty instrumental in helping care for our gardens and grounds, because many of us do not necessarily have that green thumb skill. So we were super thankful for them and that partnership as well. And this is just pictured some of our interns and volunteers we had over the summer. And some of which who are still here come into the office, who worked on a variety of things from collections and archival work to social media and creating content and research. It's pretty varied. You don't have to have a history background to come in, intern, and work with us. We love all skill sets. because that makes everything run possible and the ship sail smoothly. So thank you to those who are with us and those who are new with us. I think we even have some interns on our Zoom tonight. Professional development. We think it's very important for our staff to go and attend conferences, workshops, visit other museums, take field trips, because we have to be able to see what other museums are doing. We need to stay on top of the current research and narrative and how to present content and information that is historically accurate and factual, because that is what we do for the community. So all of our staff go and attend a variety of conferences as best we can nearby, including we had a field trip out to Queens last year as well. Some were lucky. One of our board members, Donato Di Girano, loves to be our Uber driver and take us there. So we're thankful for that. So we don't have to drive into the city either. So we continue to do that every year, just to really improve professionally ourselves as well. Blog posts. This also was COVID born, but we continue to do monthly articles and features, whether it's Montclair news, history, featuring some of our collection highlights. It's right on our website, but we often repost it via email or also on our social media channels. It's just highlighting all interesting things regarding Montclair history or nearby. Very often, it's not always the staff who are doing it. We usually have some really amazing researchers, historians, or other volunteers and interns who really find something fascinating and they want to write about it and share it with the community. So we're really thankful for that. And if you're looking to dive deeper into some fun Montclair topics, please check out our blog. We have a really great partnership with Montclair Local we've developed. And this, I think, began maybe last fall, if I'm remembering correctly, if not longer, where we now send content to feature then and now images around Montclair in different communities, historic postcards and the really cool notes we find on them, this day in history blogs, as well as our oral history collection, which we're really passionate about. Which we share on our social media channels, but also Montclair Local is now featuring them coming up in their articles as well to highlight longtime Montclair residents. So we're really thankful for this partnership. It supports their mission and also supports ours to reach a wider net so people know that this information is out here and it's for the public to engage with. So we're very thankful for that. We also launched a podcast series. We got a very energetic student who is phenomenal, Raul Madagascar, who I think he must have graduated now. He was a senior at Montclair Kimberly Academy, and he approached us with this idea. He said, listen, I love history. I have experience with podcasts and editing. Let me help you launch a series. So with Raul's help, who was the host completely, he launched a 6-part series interviewing some really wonderful historians, including members of our own board, Lizanne Renner of Friends of Anderson Park, Kathleen, Deborah David, who's here tonight, about Montclair's architecture, Mike Farrelly, who's our township historian. So those are just some examples of topics, going from also to the art colony in Montclair, Black history, you name it. So please check it out. It's on our Spotify account, which is at Montclair History Center. We've also reposted these in blogs. We'd love to continue doing more of this, and we're always open to interns or volunteers who have that skill set and love to interview who would want us to help us continue it. So we're excited that was something we could offer too. Different ways we're trying to reach everyone. Collections and resources. So, public programs are a huge
Motion detected at front door.
Oh. So much of what we do is our public program and facing, but a huge part of our mission is also to preserve Montclair history and artifacts and research materials as part of our archives and collections. So we're extremely thankful to our collections manager, Erin Benz, who leads up all these things related to caring for our 16,000 plus collection. I was actually sharing that fact at our members event. I don't think people realize I keep saying we're a small sized organization. I don't think we are anymore. We have over 16,000 things that we take care of, and that can range from artifacts and furnishings to documents, photographs in our research collection. And those are things that are in the public's trust that we care for and preserve and continually add to and try and make available online through a variety of methods. So we were able to accomplish a number of things this past year. one of which was the completion of the American Alliance of Museums Museum Assessment Program. And that was my cat, if you just saw my cat jump. Um, and it's the museum assessment program is a great way to do a self-assessment with a professional come in. It's a program funded by the AAM to make suggestions for improvements. What are our challenges? What are we doing well? And how we can maintain national and international museum policy even at our size organization. So it's really helped us with making some small changes and also thinking about longer term and bigger projects. So that was a very big process for us that we completed last year, and we've slowly started to implement some of those changes. We also completed a very intensive grant-funded project for a new online collections portal. I'm going to get to that later in the presentation, which will be a little more detailed. So I will come back to that. And we continue to, on a regular basis, accept donations that fit our collections policy. So some really interesting ones I've just listed that came through this year, but this is one of probably many, if not hundreds, we sometimes get. And we're so thankful to the community who knows to reach out to us and say, listen, I have these materials. Can you help preserve them? And, we're always thrilled to accept things that fit in our collections policy that can tell a diverse story of Montclair, and to fill in gaps for information we don't have yet to share with the public. So we're always thrilled for that. Some of the cool ones we got was a daguerreotype of James B. Crane, who is directly related to Israel Crane of our Historic House Museum. Some really fascinating letters and telegrams from World War II that are World War II, I'm sorry, and onwards that we're in the process of transcribing. That's the word. Some really great photographs from Mount Hebron Cemetery. Decamp bus collection materials. As we all heard, Decamp, when they shut down, there was also a big sale of items. So thank goodness to Helen Fallon and Aaron Benz for going out there and tracking down materials that we could add to our archives. And some really amazing Troop and 20 Scout photographs. So I'm just going to show a few pictures of some of the things I mentioned. And of course, there's more on the list and more not even listed here. So here's that daguerreotype we are just mentioning. Here's a awesome Scout Troop 20 photograph as well that was added to our collection. And many of these things can be found online on our digital portal, or if not, by contacting our office. This is related to family history. We got some wedding portrait. This is related to a woman who attended the YWCA in Montclair. And Decamp, of course. So just to show some bus photographs. So it's really, really amazing collections we get. We're so thankful to the public who reaches out to us, or our ability to source things that we see that are become available that should be preserved and added to our collection. One of our big passionate projects that I mentioned before, of course, is our oral histories. So we continue to release them online. We're actually, I believe, just about finished with all of the transcriptions. So all are now available on the website, with the exception, I think we're down to one. And we continue to conduct oral histories as they come up. So if you know of someone who she was a longtime resident that should be interviewed, that's not in our collection, we continually make those connections. Please let us know. We would love to interview them and share and preserve their story. So please do let us know. And please check out this collection right on our website. There's some great photographs that go along with the audio as well as the transcript if you prefer to read instead of listen. I should say, I'll go back to that. We're working on a really cool partnership with Radio Free Montclair. They approached us to turn our oral histories into podcast type content for their radio station. So we're working with two really great students. We just started this week, where we're going to be taking probably 100 hours worth of content and turning it into a thematic based series we can offer to Radio Free Montclair to be released, and then also subsequently put that on our own podcast channel. So that's really exciting. So that's something you'll hear at the annual meeting next year and how that project went. So stay tuned and keep an eye out. We're really excited about it. Fundraising. We said this word a lot tonight. So what have we been trying? What have we done? Let's start there. Things we've always offered as ways to support our organization, were things through our what has become a tradition is the herb sale, our annual bulb sale, which we just finished, historic replica maps, and heritage bricks. Those are things we offer ongoing every year or seasonally. We also tried something new this year and have a lot more in store. We had a trivia night for the first time last fall that was hosted at Just Jake's, and that was with Hey Jersey Entertainment. That was a well-attended event and was a nice, different fundraiser for us to try out. We really enjoyed it. And we'll be hosting another one this season. We actually are hosting an Italian dinner fundraiser this Sunday. There's still some spots free if you want to join. We're hosting a murder mystery in October. We'll be having a portrait photo shoot, a seasonal one in October, should you want that for any of your needs for this coming season for your family or friends. And we'll be hosting the trivia night again this November. So we're really diversifying the types of events we're doing, figuring out fun new ways to reach people who might be interested in different things as a way to generate revenue to support all of our programs. And quite honestly, the events are just fun. So we hope to see you there and you come and join us. Selfishly am really looking forward to our murder mystery in October and plan to be as a part of the cast. So come and find me there. We'll have a good time. Oh, and Fall Fest. I almost forgot to mention Fall Fest. We'll be hosting our third annual Fall Fest in 2 weeks. So this is in partnership with Montclair Community Farms. We work on it for, gosh, almost half the year. It's just a great way to get everyone out at the end of the season. It's a joint fundraiser as Montclair Community Farms, although a separate nonprofit. They are on our property. They host the micro farm and chickens that serves the community, all the produce that they grow. So it's a really great way to just celebrate the season. You can see from last year it was a little rainy. We're crossing our fingers for better weather this year. So do the rain dance for me for the next 2 weeks. And hopefully you join us. We'll have farm animals, food, music from School of Rock, you name it. Lots of fun. Grant funded projects. Liz covered a few of our major projects this season, but I wanted to go over one other. This was a very intensive one. And I know Erin Benz, who is on this call, who is our collections manager. And if you know us, you know Erin, who runs all things related to our collections and research library. We undertook a multi-month project, which was very intensive through funding with the Institute of Museum and Library Services. This funding enabled us to hire an assistant who worked with Erin Benz to inventory and go through all of our collections and what was our existing database, which was very limited. We could only log on it in the office. We could not use it when in another building. It was a network system. It didn't have a public-facing portal that was user-friendly for the public to use. So this project changed all of that for us. We ended up migrating into a cloud-based system. We can now use it just on any Wi-Fi. Imagine that. And it now has an amazing public access portal, which is at that link above. But if you go to our website and go to the collections tab, you'll make your way to it, where you can search everything available in our collections. Even if it's not digital, if there's not an image, you could at least see perhaps do we have a book you're looking for on Montclair history. So it's at least a way for you to understand all the things we do have and what is available, whether you can look online or call us and get that information or make an appointment. So this funding worked through was very data heavy to transfer that data. We were using multiple different systems for things from digital to our internal records. And it was really taking those 16,000 items that I mentioned earlier and putting them all together in one space and going through them really meticulously to create a really cohesive and streamlined database that we now use. It is significantly improved workflow for staff. It cuts off hours of time we maybe would have spent elsewhere duplicating work and efforts, and seamlessly lets us be able to offer up information publicly online for use. So it's really a game changer for us here at the History Center. I'm really thankful for that grant funding that was possible. The name of that funding program might sound familiar. The funding was paused and cut mid-year, but we were thankful at the federal level it did get reinstated and we were able to finish that project with the IMLS. So the new system is now fully up on our website. Please check it out, take a look, get to know it. We're really proud of this project, and Erin can tell you it was certainly a labor of love this year, and we couldn't be more thankful for it. So. Landsberger Foundation. Some of you might have noticed all the beautiful changes happening on our grounds. Our grounds are also part of who we are. We have beautiful herb gardens behind the museum, and we now have what I consider a thriving pollinator and native garden up in our meadow, as we call it, by the gazebo, which you can see pictured up on the top right, up in the distance. We're super thankful to the Landsberger Foundation. They have funded us for multiple years to make these gardens and projects come to life. These gardens are meant to be used for educational programs as a part of historic knowledge, supporting the environment. And the pollinator gardens up by the gazebo were completely downed vine and tree, and it has been a 4 to 5 year project where they have now completely just relaunch that grounds and space. There are bees flying in and out. There are insects thriving, plants thriving. It has really become its own ecosystem and it's beautiful. There's some temporary fencing around it just to keep the deer out, which is working sometimes. And we're going to keep that probably up for at least 1 more year, just because there's still one small wave of new plants that were put in this season. But the methods are working and it speaks volumes. If you go now, they're still in bloom. Please do come and check them out on our grounds. It's amazing what's growing there, and we're really proud of it. We do plan to eventually put in some educational signage and more benches and places to relax in the gardens so you can enjoy it as a passive space. So if you know of a scout group that's in need of a project, please let me know. We would love to get some beautiful benches out in that meadow. And stay tuned. We're really we're very I in particular am very passionate that the gardens are cared for, and we're excited to have them as part of our programming as we go forward. We're also thankful for the Albert P. Terhune Foundation. They every year have given us wonderful funding to help with collection-specific projects. Very often the things we might not be able to get funding for elsewhere. So they help fund things to help store or preserve materials in our collections, like our rare books pictured on the right, purchasing archival boxes that are specific to types of collection objects we need, temperature and humidity readers, which might seem like an odd one, but it's important for us to know fluctuations in that because it could affect paper documents or archival materials in specific rooms. It helps us with preventative care for our collections, and even pest management supplies. We are an old historic site, so we do have to take on nature sometimes, but it helps us care and know what's going on inside our sites. Other major supporters this year, I just want to make sure we mentioned, as Liz did for the Clark House, all of the funders that I have listed up top that supported that project, which was a multi-year project. We're thrilled to see it come to life and now have it completely ADA accessible in the back. And then, of course, to the New Jersey Historical Commission that has funded us for a number of years to help field our research and exhibit planning for the second level of the museum. I also want to thank some of our other partners and sponsors who have been longtime supports for funding initiatives for us, for whether it's project, programs, operation support, educational, sponsoring programs, festivals, events we do. This list grows every year, and so we're really thankful for that support. We would not be able to do with what we do without that support of our partners. So looking ahead. Where are we focusing? One thing we talked about a lot, and Nesta brought up too, is we continue to diversify our funding streams to support our growth and operations and public programs. We're really able to hone in on, we know what kind of funding we need to support what. So we're continuing to field that mission through different fundraising tactics, expanding our board to be able to help us to do that. We will be looking to source funding for the second level of the museum, as we discussed before. We will continue to make more of our collections available online now that we have this wonderful portal available to the public to do so. And we'll continue to offer robust programs with the community. We're always looking for new ideas and partnerships that can help us reach new audiences, and things that are, core to our mission, which is really important. And of course, part of our operations always include maintaining our buildings, our collections, and our grounds. If we do not maintain or care for those things, we won't be able to serve the public well. So that's also equally important to us. Before I bring us down for a Q&A, I just want to give a big thank you to all of our board here tonight for all of their support, all of our staff. I would not be able to do half of what I do without all of your support. And we truly, as a team, enjoy coming to work every day. We're like a family. We really enjoy what we do in serving the Montclair community. So it truly is a passionate work for all of us. You know, that's why we're here. So thank you for everything you do to help make all of this possible. Discussion. That's my end. And we open the floor for anything you want to ask or say. Feel free to unmute. I'm going to stop screen share. How's that? Any questions? Any thoughts? Anyone? No? Well, thank you everyone for being here.
Yeah, thank you all very much.
Yeah. And this
I think you described everything so well, there's no real need for
there's
questions.
nothing to say. We thank you for the nice comments in the chat. This is recorded, so if anyone missed, we'll post it up online. You can feel free to share it with anyone who did not get to come tonight too. So we'll do that as well through our email and social media. So thank you, everybody.
Well, thank
Take
you.
care.